Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to strike the last word. I just kind of want to, the gentleman from Pennsylvania mentioned how we have different priorities and that we favor the rich. I do want to kind of just go back to when the Republicans on this committee passed the Trump tax cuts. It was going to cost $1.9 trillion over 10 years. And what we looked at was 60% of the benefits of those tax cuts went to the top 0.1% of all taxpayers in this country. The top 0.1%. That's the ultra wealthy. They made the tax cuts for corporations permanent while making the tax cuts for individual taxpayers temporary. I find that insulting, right? You value corporations more than you do people. You did do corporate tax cuts permanent. So for me, I look at it, how do we use our tax system to help the working class? And next year, we're going to have a big debate about it, and I'm looking forward to it. And yes, when we came to this issue of the Inflation Reduction Act, there's one provision that I championed, I authored, I came up with when I first got onto the Ways and Means Committee, which was the used EV, or the previously owned clean vehicle tax credit, the first ever tax credit for used EVs in this country. And that credit is limited to those making less than $75,000 a year or families making less than $150,000 a year. And that credit makes these vehicles more accessible to working families, saving money by putting these cars in reach that haven't been in reach before, right? And the vast majority of the cars that are purchased in this country are used, not new. And for many working families, buying a new car, like my family was never an option. And the used EV tax credit also goes for plug-in hybrids. So this rule will undermine the effort that we're trying to make a tax credit or make electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids more accessible to working class individuals. So this is something that I believe we have to support. I understand that some people don't want this to go to the largest corporations in the country. They think it's just a direct benefit for them. But this used EV tax credit is something that's going to help everyday Americans throughout the country have access to electric vehicles. I want to enter into a record. I asked for unanimous consent to enter into a record. A New York Times article says electric cars are suddenly becoming affordable.
Without objection.
And within this article, it points out one car dealership in Salt Lake City who said customers have been snapping up used Teslas for a little over $20,000 after applying a $4,000 federal tax credit, the one we passed in the Inflation Reduction Act. And then we go down further in this article, it literally mentions a situation where somebody bought a used Bolt, originally priced at $15,000, they got it for $11,000. That's affordable. Those are working class people that can finally get into those used EVs. They actually they have less maintenance costs. They actually are good cars, and also they support, of course, good American companies. So we also have another article, another announcement by the U.S. Department of the Treasury. It says the U.S. Department of the Treasury announces more than $1 billion in upfront savings for consumers on electric vehicle sales. If we get rid of this rule, it's going to make it a lot more difficult for working class Americans to be able to take advantage of these tax credits. We should be telling them about it, not making it more difficult for them to actually get these benefits. I agree. There's been some, I would say, environmental policies, some tax credits that were never equitable enough to support working people for them to actually get their hands on it. I think about it as like, how do we tweak them in a way that makes sure that working class people that are not making that much money, can actually take advantage of it. And this is about competition with China. China is now producing so many electric vehicles, they're subsidizing them, and they're also, if you go down to Mexico, you see them driving all over the roads. When I was down there, I saw one car after another. I never noticed the brands. I looked them up. They're all Chinese made. So we have to have a faceted approach to dealing with this issue, especially with the Chinese vehicles, but rejecting this rule is not one of them. I will be voting no. With that, I yield back.